Hello and welcome to Recording Principles, Day 1, Week 1, Monday. Thank you all for being here, and for those of you watching the archive, thank you as well. All right, so first thing, I'm Tom Hughes. I'll be one of your instructors this month. Second thing, don't panic. Just don't panic, all right? A lot of things are going on right now. First of all, you're hitting recording principles. For some of you, this class will be exactly what you wanted. For others, it's going to feel like you just got pushed into the deep end of the pool and you're going to have to tread water to get across. That's the way it works. If it looks like you're drowning, we'll throw you a lifeline. We'll ask you to grab on and pull yourself across. So, this class is very intense. There are a lot more assignments due than you've had in your previous classes. This will be typical of your classes from here on out. We are a skills-based development class. We are a course to develop skills. For some of you, this will be the first time that anybody has ever attempted to teach you skills, not just memorization and repetition, but an actual skill set. So the whole method of learning could be foreign for some of you all. Don't panic. This is a beginner's class. Even though it may seem like a lot and it may seem hard, being a beginner is not an excuse to do well at it because it's a beginner's class. So if your first email to me is, I'm sorry, I'm doing really bad because I'm a beginner, it's not an excuse. Lots of people are beginners and they do really well in this class. All right, now here's the big elephant here is FSO4, right? We have a brand new Full Sail online platform. This is one of the classes that was heavily affected by the change in platform. We had to redo many of our submissions and our grading on a lot of these assignments to fit the new platform. We also don't really know what it looks like for you all. So this all going live is brand new too. There could be a lot of things that we don't know about that aren't maybe didn't transfer the way we thought or otherwise. There's also the chances that when editing these assignments for the new platform and the new instructions that we miss some edits or otherwise. So a lot of these assignments were originally submitted as discussion posts with replies and all this stuff. So if you see anything about that and it's not a discussion post, just let us know. It just means that we missed something in editing the text. So there were a lot of changes. They weren't major changes, but there were a lot of little changes. So it is possible that something slipped through that maybe isn't correct. So if you're reading something and you're not sure maybe that it all makes sense or that the grades don't match up with what's being said, don't hesitate to write us. It is a higher likelihood than normal that you could encounter a mistake. I'd like to think there aren't any, but we just don't know yet. So now if you start off looking at this, you're going to have your RPR essentials. Obviously, these are things that we think are essential for your recording principles course. Weekly live training links. If you're here right now, you already found these. Archive lecture videos. So after this lecture, I'm going to take the recording and I'm going to post it online, and I will put a link here for you so you can watch it at home on your own time, or even if you're here live, you might want to rewatch it to help go through your assignments. So first one, weekly live training links where you get the link. Second one is where I'll put the archives. I'll try to have them up by lunch the following day. So ideally, they will be up by noon tomorrow, Eastern time. Roll call. This also serves as your welcome message. Please go through that. It's a lot of important information. What's going to happen is some of you are going to skip going through this, and then you're going to panic, and you're going to send me a lot of panicked emails about this or that, or this doesn't work, and I don't know what to do with this, or I'm panicking about this. Who do I call about this? What do I do? It's all covered here. So if we get messages like that from you, we're going to know that you didn't read all the stuff that we already wrote you. We spent a lot of time writing this stuff. We have a lot of students and answer a lot of questions. So please read the materials we provide you and watch the videos we provide you before loading us down with a lot of questions. So here's your contact for FSO support at fullcell.com, which brings us to your launch pack. If you're missing anything from your launch pack, you need to contact FSO support immediately, like tonight. By tomorrow, if you're contacting us, your instructors, about it, you should be letting us know that, hey, I've contacted FSO support and they said that by so-and-so day, I should have everything. And also let us know what you're missing. If you're missing computer, or you're missing just your microphone, or you're missing your speakers, or you're missing everything. So your launch box, very important, needs to be done. We're using Logic in this class. The Logic code will be emailed to you for a free download. Well, not free, but you already paid for it. So you have your code to download. If you don't have that, that's also contact FSO support. We do not use Musician, Sibelius, Aurelia, and Pro Tools in this course. So if you want help with those, you can contact FSO support. But we have many things to learn and work with in this course. Way more than you probably can imagine right now. So we don't really have time to try to teach you how to set up all these programs for another course, because we have things that we are focusing on this month. So please keep that in mind, and keep your questions focused to this course, what we're teaching this month, and the tools we're using this month, and save the jumping ahead for another class. Let's see, self-motivated. Assignments are designed to build procedures and skill sets. Please do everything step by step in order. Learn to be self-reliant. Technical problems. This is what this industry is all about, right? A lot of what we do is deal with technical issues. That's part of your life, part of my life. It's going to happen. You need to find a way to work through them. A deadline's a deadline. Technical support is available from MPBS Tech Help at aim.com from 5 to 9 daily. So what this is other instructors volunteer to be on this chat line from 5 to 9 every day to help you out. Logic questions, Pro Tools questions, whatever it is that you're dealing with your class. It's like a technical sort of production class. MPBS Tech Help at aim.com is there from 5 to 9, 7 days a week. So please use these resources. If you try to use Logic didn't work as an excuse for not turning in your project, the first thing we're going to ask is, did you contact FSO support? What did they say? Did you contact MPBS Tech Help? Why were they unable to help you? What did they say your issue was? Okay, and then we will work from there. But if we ask you those questions, you haven't contacted them, then that's no excuse for not turning in your assignment. That means you didn't try to work through your problems. You'll have some projects submitted as discussion posts. Now, since the rewrite of the class, it's only one project submitted that way. We'll talk about it later this month. Safari Books. You have one assignment telling you to look at Safari Books, so you should already be familiar with it. If not, FSO support. Lynda Videos. We use lots and lots of Lynda Videos. You have a license to Lynda Videos as long as you're a student at Full Sail. So if it is asking you for money for some content of Lynda, you have accessed it wrong. Go to Connect, access Lynda through Connect, and you will be able to access all the Lynda video trainings included with your tuition. I'm going to check the questions for those of you that have found the questions box. I haven't looked back over there just yet, but I will be checking shortly. So don't be disheartened if I haven't answered you yet. Just want to get through a few main things, and I'll check the questions. All right, so you may want to walk through this right now with me. Apple, system preferences, security and privacy. Depending on your operating system and different things, this menu can be different, but you want to open it up to allow task when asked. So we have some apps we're going to be using this month that Joseph Rivers designed. They're not from the Apple Store. They won't be recognized as a Mac app, but we still need to allow them to run. So if you have an issue with your system preferences with an app not running, go System Preferences. That's from the Apple. So up here, Apple, System Preferences, Security and Privacy. and this thing. So you have to click on the lock, enter in your password, and then you can change where the apps are allowed from. You can always change it back later if you're feeling insecure about your security settings. But that will allow your apps to run. So I was all in the roll call. And then also, more important, first day stuff. So all this stuff's pretty much important first day. Getting started with logic. Now looks like a good time to check the questions, so stand by. Yeah, William, I guess somebody says it doesn't say anywhere for them. I don't know why that happened. Some people that didn't have certain operating systems carrying forward have that, and some don't. I'm on Sierra, and I still have that. I think others that started with Sierra don't have that option. It's a strange world of Apple. Audio Workstations is the first class teaching Pro Tools. I do not think it is part of the APC program. Daniel, you keep getting a no plugin sign. Where are you at? Where do you have that problem? You have to fill me in. I don't even know what program you're talking about, or if you're talking about the internet, or where you're even talking about. When you have questions, please be detailed. I can't see what you're looking at. I don't have magic eyes to your computer. You have to explain. I got a question. Somebody asked if they need a CD drive, DVD burner. You don't need that for this class. I thought those of you that would need one had one with your launch pack. If you should have one in your launch pack and you didn't get it, you need to contact FSO support. Yeah, if you don't have the apps everywhere, just do App Store and identify developer, and it should ask you. It should ask you specifically when you download something that it doesn't recognize. It'll just should give a pop up and allow you to download. I got a question about making the video full screen. I think you should be able to, in GoToMeeting, just click the little button in the top left to increase the screen size. For the archives, they'll be uploaded in 1080 HD quality, so you'll be able to make them whatever screen size you have. I got a question about not seeing questions. So this month you are in webinar, not GoToMeeting. So what happens is you do not have a chat. You can't chat with each other. You cannot see each other's questions. But anything you write, I will see and I will be responding. So it's going to work that way all month. Thanks for bringing that up. This is webinar, so your questions will come to me and I will respond to them. And here's how it's going to work. Some people get confused when I respond to the questions. If I get a question that applies to exactly, what we're talking about, the whole class, as they should, I will read the question out loud and then I will respond to the class with that question, so you all know what the question is, what the response is. That's how all questions should be, right? Normally. But what happens is people don't do that. I'll be right in the middle of talking about compression, then somebody will ask me a question about something I was doing 30 minutes ago, like they got caught in some sort of brain warp or something and they zoned out for half an hour and they came back in. Or they'll ask questions that are just totally about something not with the class or not with the project, or something totally personal to what they're doing that has nothing to do with the rest of the class. And if that's the case and it's something I can answer quickly for them, I will just say their name and give them an answer without reading the question. That is specifically so I don't take the class down some sort of crazy tangent. So just know if the question applies to you as the class, I will repeat it and let you know what I'm talking about it. If it does not, I will not repeat the question and I will try to reply and get my way out of it as soon as possible to get back in track with the rest of class. So I had some people that have commented before in my reviews or whatever. They got frustrated that they didn't get to know what all the questions were that were written, but they just didn't apply to them. If it applies to you as a class, I will tell you. And if not, then I will try to either answer or put off that question as quickly as possible to return to the material. How in depth into logic are we going into this course? Not very, but we will get enough to record and mix some. Daniel, have you gone through your setting up logic and all this stuff here and watched this video here yet? If not, please save your questions until after you do so because they are put there to help you out with those things. All right. So I've got one. So it's asking, they've got this video here, and I embedded the video to make it easy to click on and play. But it says it's too small. This is actually just a YouTube video. So once you click on it and you start playing it, you'll have this little menu bar that pops up. And you can just click down here, watch on YouTube, or you can go to AirPlay to like send it to another screen if you have an AirPlay TV. Full screen button is deactivated. That must be something new and SFSO, but you just click this YouTube button. Watch it from YouTube, and from here the full screen button should work. There we are. So it's kind of just like any, forum or other sort of websites these days. We got lots of questions. Sorry for the delays here. I'm just reading a lot. Samuel, what does your download progress screen say? Lane, no, that's no problem. Just catch up on the archive, anything you missed. Got a question about leaving the course early, the lecture early. If you have to leave, you're not going to get counted off. If I see you exit, I'm not going to knock your professionalism. I'm going to assume, and you can let me know. You can write in. Most people usually do. They let me know if they have to leave for some reason. So just let me know, and I'll expect that you catch up on anything you missed from the archive the next day. I understand that everybody has schedules. You're online because you couldn't meet a campus schedule. Everybody has different times and schedules to work with, so I definitely understand that. Yeah, somebody said they have an issue with their speakers. One of them's getting replaced. This whole course can be done with the headphones, so that won't be a problem. Although I know you want your speaker back. You can't do this in headphones. George, each assignment is different instructions. You need to follow each instruction of the assignments. For the most part, you are not creating on your own. raw tracks, but sometimes you are. I suggest you do download all the sounds in Logic. If you're not using them in this class, you'll need them in another class, so you might as well go ahead and use up that space on the hard drive so you don't get stuck later not having the space for them when you need them. I got a question. Is mic placement covered thoroughly in this class? We have some videos to help you with it, to help you understand it. We talk about it a little bit. The videos actually animate the microphone pickup patterns through the air to help you understand it better. Um, is that thorough? I don't know. When I was in school, I had no class on microphones. There was a time here at Full Sail where we had probably one of the most thorough microphone educations in the planet, and that's been scaled back. So I don't know if thorough is a relative term. We try to get you some good basics and understanding so you can make good decisions, which is going to be kind of the philosophy of this whole course is how do you make good decisions? And mic placement and mic selection are decisions that you have to make. So we'll work on that. Terrence, nobody can see your questions except for me. As I went over before, this is webinar, not GoToMeeting. So I can see the questions, but your classmates cannot. If you got 54 hours remaining, you need to cancel and start over with a better internet service. You need to check your download speed. Everything's important. So if you've missed anything up to now, it's probably important. You go back and watch the archive tomorrow. I try not to sit around and spend too much time doing things that aren't important. Although this being day one, it's arguable how important any of it is. But a lot of it, it's the first day. You just need some guidance on how to get through things, plus the actual work. So I haven't gotten into the assignments yet, if that's what you're meaning. But I think it's all pretty important. All right, I think I got through the questions. If somebody asked me something and I didn't answer it, please ask it again. It means I missed it. That was one of the longest runs of questions and dispersed questions where people wrote a couple sentences and then didn't write a couple sentences until later, and there are 20 other sentences in between. By the way, try to ask your questions all in one sentence before you hit enter. That way, I'm not reading something you said, and then I'm scrolling down 20 other things, and I get the next part of what you said, but I don't even remember what the first part was anymore. Um, you know, try to imagine what things look like. I know you don't know how things look on my end, but try to imagine a little bit how they look on my end and make things easier for me. So, with the questions box, it comes through in little blocks. I have a lot of students. There are, I don't know what it is this month with you. I think over 300 of you this month in class. I mean, that's not right. About 150 of you. Anyhow, there's a lot of you. There's a lot of questions. I got a question. From my perspective, would I consider this challenging to students new to DAWs or familiar? Yes, it is challenging. I think no matter what, it's challenging. Even if you are familiar with the DAW, it will be challenging. It's more challenging for some because you're new to a Mac and you're new to everything, and understand that, but it's something you have to get over. I can't help you get over it, but I do understand that it is a challenge. Yeah, we'll look at the vocabulary stuff in a moment. Please use the microphone provided in the launch box. I got a question. Is Logic as similar to GarageBand as you think it is? Probably. They are very similar. In the lower stages, Logic can be a million times more complex. So we're not getting that deep into it, but there's definitely some rabbit holes that you can go down to in Logic that you could never um, pull off in GarageBand, I don't think. All right, so get through the questions and moving forward. And important first aid, getting started with Logic. Here's an installation guide. Here's a video. As I pointed out just a few moments ago, if this is not large enough, you can just click this YouTube and it'll open up in a YouTube page and you can go full screen. I'll just walk you through this part right now. So everybody kind of follow along with me on this if you have your Logic already. If not, remember to go back and do this. So open up Logic. Came up on the other screen. One moment. I'll get it over for you. Whenever you open up Logic, it makes you create a track. It's just part of it. I don't want to get too deep into this because I already made a video going through all of this. So to take all of your time going through it now, then make you watch a video doing the same thing seems silly. A lot of things require repetition to get better at, but I try to avoid unnecessary redundancy. I understand your time is valuable. I try not to take much more of it than absolutely needed. I also have Logic here. You need your preferences set up for advanced preferences. So you can go to Logic Pro X right up at the top left, where it just says the name of the program. You can go down to Preferences, and you can go down to Advanced Tools. It's going to pop up this menu, and you're going to click on this, Show Advanced Tools. When you first open Logic, it probably opens up like this. Looks like GarageBand. It has wood grain sides, got little pictures of headphones and speakers and red buttons and all this pretty stuff. Very consumer friendly. And then you click this button and all that pretty stuff goes away. And you can go ahead and have all this stuff enabled. We don't use the MIDI or the score in this class, but you will use it, so it won't hurt to just go ahead and enable it all. All right, thanks, Matthew. No problem. Let's catch up in the archive tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. All right, downloading your sound library. This can take a long time. It doesn't preclude you from doing your exercises. So you can still work in Logic and do your first assignment while this is downloading. So don't tell me, oh, I couldn't do my assignment. It's still downloading. That's not an excuse. It will still work. That means you didn't try to get over your hurdle. You can get over every hurdle in this class. If you can't, we will work with you through it. The only hurdles that should be in your way that you couldn't possibly get over are like all your equipment breaks. And at that point, we will work with FSO to help hurry up and get you equipment as fast as possible to get over that hurdle as well, right? If you can't get over the hurdle yourself, we'll try to help you over it, but there will be hurdles. That's part of it. This is college, right? So don't expect there not to be. There will be hurdles. You will be expected to get over them. That's all stuff for downloading your sound library. Please do so. Setting up your audio interface and mic. I'm not going to walk all through these today. Seems like a little much, and we have more interfaces than ever right now. So we're now running a potential of 3 different interfaces in this course. You either have the Focusrite Scarlett 2i4. It's a small interface, has 2 microphone pre's on the front. Or you have a 19-inch interface with Firewire Thunderbolt, which is the Sapphire Pro 40. A lot of you probably do not have that anymore. Or you have the 18i20, which is also 19-inch interface. but it has a USB connection. So what we have here is installation apps. We'll just take a look at one of them. While that's downloading, I'll briefly talk about this one. The Scarlett 2i4 is plug and play. Just plug it in, it will work. No problem. If you plug it in, it doesn't work, contact FSO support, maybe there's a problem. But don't go installing a bunch of stuff first. Don't install the extra stuff they give you. Don't install a bunch of stuff that you don't even know about. In fact, there's some installers on Focusrite that say, do not install if you have Sierra. Well, I'm telling you, if you have a new computer from Mac, if you just got a new computer with your launch box, you have Sierra. That means don't install the software that says don't install if you have Sierra. So what happens, we'll get to the end of this week. Some students will be really frustrated, and then we'll go in. We'll be like, what'd you do? We'll look at all the stuff they installed and be like, what's all this stuff you installed? You told us you didn't install anything. And then we see, oh, you installed this. It says, do not install if you have Sierra. Why did you install the stuff it says do not install? It breaks it. And that's what happens when we have to uninstall things. So please don't just go click happy installing everything. There are things you can install that are not good. Don't just click on everything. Install what we asked for. All right, so basically this thing doesn't really need anything. It plugs in, but this little guide will help you see how to set it up, how to set up your microphones, how to set up everything, your inputs and outputs and logic. We've already had some questions about the inputs and outputs and logic, all covered in these guides. That's kind of why I didn't answer the question when you ask it. So if you're wondering, I didn't miss your question, but I knew we were coming to it. Oops. All right, download that. Let's get it open. So these it may ask you, if it's okay to open. It's okay. Joseph made them. I promise he didn't put any viruses in them. Nothing evil. No CIA spy programs. Not in this one anyways. So click on the logo. All right, so it's going to tell you about your interface. Good write-up. Please read it. This is your interface, right? This thing's important. Every bit of audio you record is going to go through this thing. You should understand your interface, how it works. You should want to spend some time with it. You should be enthusiastic. Now, I understand for those of you that have never had an interface before, if you have the Sapphire Pro 40 or the 18i20 here, these are complicated interfaces to have at your first interface. They're going to be a lot of work because they're more complex, a lot more to learn, but you should also be thrilled that you got such an interface to start off with. A lot of people have to start off with a very simple interface or no interface at all, work their way up over years to get something this complex. So you get to start off with one. You also have to suffer for that because it's very complex. Now, so I want to cover, these have phantom power switches right here. So all of the students that have these 19-inch interfaces also have what's known as condenser microphones. These microphones need phantom power, which runs at 48 volts. So there's a little 48V button right there. So if you have this interface and you need to record with the microphones that we provided from Volsail, you have condenser microphones. They are going to require phantom power or they will not work. That's all covered in this article. If you have the little interface, the Scarlett 2i4, then you have a dynamic microphone, much like the one I'm using right here. No phantom power needed. You just plug it in. Everything works. All right, so this tells you all about your front panel. You can move up and down, learn all about that. All the switches, buttons, everything. The next page, the back panel. Inputs, outputs, digital connections, power. If you keep going, you'll get into how to actually hook up your headphones, how to connect your computer, how to run the installer, which sets up all your software, how to set up your preferences. So anything you hold over that's in red, if you hover over it, it'll show you all the images of what it looks like when you actually follow and do the steps. So this is a very elaborate guide. It should be every step you need to get your interface to work. If you follow each step of this and your interface doesn't work, It may be bad. It probably needs to be replaced. So if you contact us and you say you've done all these steps, we're going to be looking at replacing your interface. So please don't do that until you have actually followed all these steps. We would hate to go through all the trouble of trying to set up a warranty exchange when your interface is just fine. You just never followed the steps and misinformed us about it. So if you're telling us you followed the steps, please follow the steps. If you didn't follow all the steps, please tell us that and go back and follow the steps. You understand how this is a slippery slope where if you skip some steps, the troubleshooting can get very complicated and we may misdiagnose something. All right, so to loop things back to the beginning, don't panic. Don't panic. This is a lot of material. It's a lot of new equipment to get going, and it's going to be really heavy. I'm not going to lie to you. This class is heavy, really heavy, especially the first 2 weeks. If you can get through the first 2 weeks, you get accustomed to that pace, and you're all caught up at the end of week 2. Weeks 3 and 4 are going to be nice and smooth for you. They're going to be a lot of fun. You're going to sound really good. If you slack off in weeks 1 and 2, it's going to be a cascading effect. It's going to snowball on you. Everything's just going to keep getting harder and harder and worse and worse. And it's going to be like a nightmare you can't get out of. And you're going to fail and repeat the class. And you're probably going to do the same thing again because people that do that tend to make the same mistake more than once because they don't learn their lessons. So stay up to date. Keep up with it. You're going to find it very hard to get a lot of sympathy from us. We have a lot of students. We've heard all the excuses, and we all work in the audio industry, meaning you're probably not going to have an instructor that hasn't pulled many, many, many overnights to meet deadlines. I've pulled plenty of overnights to meet deadlines. So when I hear somebody give me some lame excuses, when I see they left, 10 hours open in their schedule to sleep, not that your lame excuses matter anyways, really, right? Because, we don't really take these excuses in. You have university-approved excuses, and of course, those will allow you to make up your work with no deduction, death in immediate family, all sorts of tragedies, things you don't want to happen. But, having to work the night shift is not a university-approved excuse. That's just part of your life that you need to deal with. It's going to still be part of your life when you're trying to freelance, right? So you have to learn to deal with these things. But don't panic. Just keep going. Deal with them. Just keep going. One thing after the other. And just, one step, 1 foot after the other. Just don't panic. All right. After all that, we have a note about FSO issues and project submission. So if you have an issue uploading your project to FSO, this gives you instructions for uploading through Dropbox and sending us the link. Please check on that. If you ever have an issue uploading to FSO, that is your emergency. This is how I get the assignment in and don't lose credit. It's expected that you read that, so it's expected that you use that and not just say FSO was down or something like that as an excuse not to turn in. All right. Deadlines are everything. Stop the excuse train. Obviously, excuses are a problem. This is your first real class, that's getting into your audio degree, where you're actually working with stuff, where we have important deadlines. Everything has to be done in order. We have cumulative assignments, meaning they all have to be done in order. They build on each other. You just can't get behind it here. You can't take a shortcut. There are no shortcuts. I cut everything out that you didn't need. I have no fluff in this class. Everything's essential to you moving forward. If you skip anything, it's going to hurt you later. And then there's some recommended links. Those are just some links we thought were fun and might interest you. So let's get into how the rest of the month's going to look. So after this essentials, which you're going to need to know for all month, you're getting into week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So weeks 1, 2, and 3, you have a quiz on Thursday. This quiz is based on your vocabulary. The vocabulary is in your weekly materials. So week 1 materials. Here's some PDFs. These are from the campus lectures. We do not lecture to them in this course because you may imagine teaching on campus where you have a lecture, then you have labs with a bunch of hardware and a bunch of lab attendants, and everybody gets to stand around and help you out. is much different than the situation you were in where you're largely on your own and you have to, you need every bit of help you can available to you any time of night, maybe 2 in the morning when you get to work in your projects. So you need all that available then. So I try to be extremely thorough in these lectures. This is the only lecture that's going to have all this talking at the beginning. From here on out, we will very quickly get into your projects and all the skills that you're being used in your projects. So I'll teach you the skills and show you how to apply them in the actual project you're doing. So that way you can really understand exactly what you need to do and exactly how to get your points. This is not a class that's designed to make anybody fail out. It's designed so that everybody can pass as long as you put in the effort. All right, so all these PDFs are from the campus. If you're having trouble understanding me or you want more in-depth on some topics, I highly suggest you check out these PDFs. They're well written. They're all done by Pedro from our campus lectures. Good stuff. So just more information for you. Here's a glossary from Sound on Sound. It has a lot of great technology. It may not have every word in our glossary, but it's a good audio glossary for you to have. So we put it up here for you to download. So here's your words for this week. Acoustic treatment, which has to deal with handling sound in your room, in your space. Amplifier, amplifies audio. Remember, everything we're talking about is audio. So if you're looking at definitions that aren't audio related, you're in the wrong field, right? Amplitude is how loud the audio gets in our case. So what I want you to do is look all these up, get their real definitions. You might want to print this out and just write them in, whatever helps you remember things, and just learn how to use these. These are words we're going to be using in your everyday, life from here on out. These are things that have to do with your field. You need to understand this terminology. Bit depth has to do with digital encoding. Bounce is where we take a multi-track recording and turn it into a stereo recording for playback or even a mono recording. Cardioid is a type of pickup pattern. Condenser microphone is a type of microphone. Remember I told you all that if you're the AP students with the 19-inch interfaces, then you also have a pair of condenser microphones that came with your lunchbox, and you will need to use phantom power. DAW, Digital Audio Workstation. We'll be using Logic as our DAW in this class. Diffusers, type of acoustic treatment. Dynamic microphone, another type of microphone, does not require phantom power. Fader, in this case, is going to be our volume fader in this class. Frequency, measured in hertz, that's pitch. Mic preamp, it's just a microphone preamplifier. You have those on your interface. We have them on our consoles. Look it up, read about them. Multi-track tape. Off-axis, we're dealing with mic position, off-axis versus on-axis. There's on-axis there. Omnidirectional is another pickup pattern, picks up all the way around equally. There's on-axis, phantom power, we talked about that. Phase has to do with whether the cycle of the wave is going up or down at any point. We usually have a phase switch to work with that. Preamp. For the sake of this class, same thing as the microphone preamp. Proximity effect happens when you get real close to the mic and you get that radio deep voice. Rarefaction, when sound moves through air, it moves through compression and rarefaction of the air. Rarefaction is where it pulls apart thin air. Ribbon microphone, another type of microphone. Sample rate has to do with audio encoding, digital encoding of audio. Sound absorption, more sound treatment. Soundproofing, more sound treatment, acoustic treatment. Spectrum analyzer analyzes the amplitude of each frequency in real time. Speed of sound, that's a constant. Look it up. Summing amplifier. Anytime you have many things coming together into one thing, you'll have summing amplifiers. Transducer, microphones and speakers are both transducers. Transducers take energy in the air and turn them into electricity, or vice versa, take electricity and turn them into air energy. So both speakers and microphones. TRS, it's a cable connection type for 1/4-inch cables, tip ring sleeve Also 1/8 inch have that. TS, tip sleeve. TT, tiny telephone used in patch bays. XLR, this is what plugs into the back of your microphone. Balanced and unbalanced, you can read about those. All right, I'll go back and check the questions again, and then we're going to go into your first graded assignment for this week. Make sure you're prepared for that. Just going to freshen up the coffee while I'm reading these. I got a question. Do you need a pop filter for the mics? If you have a pop filter, you can use them. They're not required for this class. We're not grading you on necessarily the quality of your recordings. We're grading you on the technique you use and just trying to coach you along. So that's another thing. Don't stress out about the quality of your voice, of your recordings or whatever. We have techniques for you to follow. If you follow the techniques, it's going to come out pretty good anyways. If you don't follow the techniques, probably not so much. But even if it doesn't come out good, if you still follow the techniques, you're going to get a good score, and then we're going to explain to you how to make it sound better. So this is a freshman course, so we're not going to grade you on, we're not just make you be like, hey, make it sound good, and then be like, oh, you failed, this sounds horrible. We're going to be like, okay, you did all the steps, that's very good, you're getting points for that, but tell you what, if you adjust this here, and you adjust this, and you do a little change right here, it's going to sound a lot more like whatever, you know. We're not just going to tell you better or worse either. We're going to tell you, hey, if you want this to sound more radio friendly, maybe you need to bring up the vocals and do a little more vocal compression or something like that. We will be specific with you, okay? But we're not going to count off just because maybe your project isn't sonically as pleasing as somebody else's. We understand you're all freshmen. Some people have different talent levels. We're not going to grade on some scale where some guy comes into the class or gal that's been doing this for 15 years and has, gold albums on the wall and does this amazing project. And we say, okay, you're way up here, you're the A, and everybody else gets an F. It doesn't work that way. We're not like that here. We understand what it takes. So we're building a skill set. We're going to grade you on following through the steps. If you follow through the steps, the skills will be there. Trust the process. The interactive guide has nothing to do with your interface actually being plugged in. It's just a guide. You just open it up and flip through it. It's just like a PDF or any other digital medium of reading anything. It's just like a pamphlet, but it's digital. I got a question. Is it normal to feel overwhelmed right now? Yes. Just take a deep breath and calm down. It looks like a lot, and it is a lot to pour through, but I don't ask that you understand it. So some of you will get caught up because you feel like you need to understand every syllable of everything before you can move forward. This class kind of like we'll keep going around in layers and keep repeating things. So you don't have to understand every word or everything, but just keep going through it and keep moving forward. You do have to keep progressing. You have to make your deadlines and progress. But you can move forward without maybe understanding everything because some things will make more sense later. I've had things 10 years in the field that I finally understood that a teacher said. I'll be like, oh, that's what they meant. It took me 10 years to understand out in the field. It's okay. You may not understand every nuance of everything, but because you've been exposed to it, at some point it will make more sense to you. So I'm going to expose you to a lot. This is freshman. You have a lot to be exposed to. It's all brand new to most of you. You're going to be exposed to a lot. Don't worry if you don't understand it all. Just take the exposure and keep moving forward. What's important is the projects. If you can do the projects and do all the skills in the projects, then you're doing good. Everything else is to help you do that and help you talk about that. Great question. Another question, should strictly use the glossary provided or use other research? Use other research. Use as much. The glossary provided may not have all the words. It just happens to be a very good audio glossary I thought you all would like. So put it in there. It has most of the words and has good definitions for the ones it has. If you have things that are not in the glossary, Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, whatever it is, there's all sorts of search engines. Use them. Just remember, in the context of audio. Don't get overwhelmed. Your quizzes. So your quizzes, your online students. These quizzes are open internet, open book, open whatever. So if you've gone through, you've done, filled out, figured out what the vocabulary is, you have that list ready for you. You go take the quiz. It's going to be using those words in a sentence. If you get to a sentence and you can't figure it out, you can still use the internet, right? You can still go back to your list. You can still go back to your search engines. You can still go back to the glossary. Um, you know, I'm not using this to try to dock you points or try to make you have to jump through a bunch of hoops and memorize things. I just need you to be able to understand these words. So when I give you feedback or you talk to each other, you can use the basic words used in the industry. So that's what we're trying to get to here. It's not a complex vocabulary thing. The quizzes aren't designed to be hard or tricky. If anything, they're designed to be easy. If you think a quiz question looks too easy, that's probably the right answer. They're not meant to be trick questions. We just want you to be able to use these things in a sentence. You do not have to sing. Good question. Don't worry. We probably don't want to hear that any more than most of you want to do it. For a handful of you, it's a pleasure to hear you sing, but you know who you are, and some of you know who you aren't. I'm one of the don't hear me sing people. All right, so getting further along. So right now we've looked at our week one materials. We discussed what quiz one's going to be. So right here coming up is your first actual project. Loading sounds into Logic and playback. Now, this one may be a shocker for you all. Surprise, surprise, hidden videos and work. Lots of time, okay? So look at this. All of our projects are going to be like this. When you get into the project, we're going to have training videos designed specifically to help you develop the skills used in the project. So even though I'm going to walk you through the project, you could probably just watch me and get through the project. Watching these other videos will help you develop the skills so you can actually be good and be in the industry using these skills or using them on your own projects or whatever. So there's a difference between just being able to get through the class and really being, developing a skill at using these tools. So I went through and I actually put the times of each of these videos so that you can kind of calculate how much time you need to plan ahead to watch them. So it's like 7 minutes, another 12 minutes, and 19, 20. So 25, 30 minutes worth of videos right here on this one before you even get started. So plan for that. Remember, that's time, right? 30 minutes to watch those videos. Then you're going to read an article. Here's a link to the article. This is from Sound on Sound. This is a great magazine, great resource for anybody in audio. Highly recommended. By me personally, not by the university. I have a personal recommendation. As an engineer. All right, so you're going to read this, okay? It may not all make sense to you. Try to research it if it doesn't. If it blows your mind, fine, that's okay. Just keep moving forward. It may take a while to understand it all. We've been shocked to understand how little many of you understand about audio, audio quality, digital audio, the difference between digital and analog. Some people don't even know there is a difference between digital and analog audio, and they're in this program. So right away, we need to fix that, right? If you go out somewhere and, you're telling your friends you're studying audio at Full Sail and you don't know the difference between an MP3 and a wave, we all look bad and nobody's going to want to hire you. They're going to think you don't know anything at all. So these are just basic stuff that you're going to have to understand. It's all just part of what the audio industry is today. So read this. There'll be a lot of terminology that you're going to want to understand. That's our first assignment. And, always try to find different politically correct words to use for this. I used the thesaurus last month and came up with poppycock. This is your first chance to try to submit a bunch of BS and see if you can get points for it. It seems like it's happened in the past before, where people can just write whatever they want and maybe they get credit for it just by having a big block of words and letters. This is not that kind of class. Now we're teaching skills. We are going to read what you write. We will read it. We'll read what you write, and it should make sense regarding the topic. So in this case, we're talking about data compression of music. So if you come in and you write me a bunch of stuff about dynamic compression, not data compression, I'm going to know you didn't read the article. I'm also going to know you didn't watch this video because I'm right here right now warning you not to do this. Now last month, maybe he's here this month again because, you know, I doubt he finished. But last month I had somebody 3 times I sent him back to this project and this video. He wrote me this whole thing all about dynamic compression with articles about data compression. I said, you didn't read the article. Please go back and read the article. Write this again, and I'll reconsider it for partial credit. He does the same thing again. I said, read the actual article. Write about the things that I told you to write about. And review again. And then he just argues with me that he read the article and he has no idea what I'm talking about. But obviously didn't read the article because he's talking about some other stuff he learned about from somewhere else that's not actually related. It just uses the same word. It's the same word, but it's used differently. You know, it's the English language. You have many words that are like the same, but they mean different things. It's one of those things. We have different kinds of compression, and they're not at all really related. And this article helps you understand that. So I even sent this person back to this point in that video where I had this talk about not saying that, and they obviously wouldn't watch that either because they couldn't understand why I kept knowing that they weren't reading the article no matter how many words they wrote to me. So don't waste my time. Don't waste your time. We're not going to let it go. And if we do let it go, it's going to cost you later. It's just because we gave up on you and we realized you're just going to fail out, so we let it go. You know, that's your tough love speech there, right? But it's true. We deal with a lot of students. If we see that you're not going to put in any effort and don't care, usually in the first week, we'll try to get you back in line. We'll just try to let you know, be like, hey, this might have worked for you before. It's not going to work here. You're going to have to actually do the work and be a part of this class to get the points. Sometimes we just get tired of the excuses and we just let you fail. All right, so as you can tell, I'm a little bit annoyed with this, and I literally spent hours last month dealing with people that wouldn't read the article and just kept trying to send me a bunch of poppycock. And it frustrates me. There's only so many hours in the week. I have a lot of students. I would much rather be talking to you all about, oh, wow, that was great. I never knew that. Hey, can you tell me what about this sound and this thing and why does it sound that way? Or something cool and something interesting and something fun to talk about. Having to sit there and be like, look, you know, little Timmy, little Bobby, little, you know, whatever. I know you didn't do your work. If you don't start doing your work properly, you're not going to get any points. You're going to fail. You know, there's no participation trophy for this class. I'm sorry. You have to develop these skills or you can't do the next class. So it's a tough love. So you're reading this article. You're reading this article. You're reading this article. Now, somebody, almost every month, I get somebody say, hey, you know, where'd you get those audio files, Professor? I didn't have any audio files, so I made my own track. If you make your own track for this project, you obviously didn't follow the instructions at all. You're automatically going to get a 0. I'm not even going to read what you wrote. I'm just going to give you a 0. So right here in the article, it says, the audio files themselves are available at, and it gives you a link. So if you send me an email not finding the sound files, I know that you didn't read the article. You just wouldn't read it. You have to read. This is college. I don't have much reading in this class. There's very little reading in this class, but it's college. You have to read something. It's one magazine article. Read it. It's just one magazine article. It's not like I'm telling you to read the Iliad by next week. One magazine article, and it's about a thing you're supposed to love. Music and audio and streaming it. So here's your sound files. You're going to click this button. They're going to download. You're going to go back to the article. That's not over, right? It's not over. You just got your sound files. Now you keep reading while those are downloading. Told you about how encoders work. This should be fascinating to you. You are all studying audio. So how does something go from being analog sound to a bunch of ones and zeros and digits? It's like magic, right? But you're an audio professional. You can't just say it's magic. You have to understand something about it. How does it work? What levels do you need to sample at to be adequate? You know, what's enough? What's high quality enough? What do you get out of being even higher quality? What happens if you go lower quality? You need to know this. You need to understand it. You need to know what it sounds like. So you keep reading, right? Look at all this stuff. This is all information for your industry. Read this. All right, so we're still reading. Most people cut out. They stopped reading right here, and I start giving them Fs because they send me a bunch of poppycock for their write-up. So we get all the way down here. We're going to start seeing images, and it's going to tell us things. MP3s, 128. So look at this. Here we are, finally, way down here after we did all that reading. If we didn't do the reading first, we wouldn't know what they were talking about, right? So we do the reading, then we get here. Audio example A is a 128 kilobyte per second MP3. AC showing their frequencies. So they're going to show pre-echoes and post-echoes. You can see it visually. You'll be able to hear it. You'll have these audio files. Audio example B, uncompressed AIFF file. That's uncompressed audio. That's what we generally work with in the studio. And even within that, there are different ranges of quality. Here we are. Here's another compressed file, variable bitrate MP3. Look at that. These were all the same sound. So if you give me a writing that says, oh, well, track 1 was recorded great. Track 3 sounded like it was recorded badly. Track 4, but they're not. Each one that sounds kind of the same is the exact same recording. We're not studying recordings here. We're not studying recording quality. We're studying the quality of conversion. So what happens after it was recorded? After it got turned into a file format, what happened to it? So please take this project seriously. It's very important. All right, so audio example D, showing you time smear. Down here, you're getting double speak, transparency, detail, stereo imaging. Look at that. Some people don't even think about that. The stereo imaging, the actual width of sound, how far left something sounds, how far right something sounds. All that can change with your encoding. Examples J and K. So when you're writing about this, we ask you to write about it. We're asking you to write about it. Use some of these terms so that I know that you read this. Use these specific examples and tell us something. You know, tell me, example S was 128 kilobyte MP3, and, I really don't like it because of the fluctuating frequency content or whatever. And then, or maybe at 320, maybe you like that better. You can have opinions too. Have your opinion, but use these words. Like they say that the AAC is technically the best format to encode in. Many people say this. I don't care for it. Sonically, I find it to be harsh. I would prefer musically to listen to an MP3, even though it may technically be slightly less quality. To me, it has a more musical quality to the encoding, more pleasant to the ears at the 320 level. At the lower levels, maybe not so much. Um, so we all have different taste, and there are differences. So just because they say that one's better doesn't mean you have to think it's better. But you tell me why. If you think something's better or worse, tell me what it is that made you think that, and use the things in the example. So, if you tell me that, that example, you know, 15 or whatever we have here, example S sounded like an uncompressed audio file and blah, 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 and you just ramble off a bunch of stuff about it, and it wasn't that at all, and it tells you exactly what it was, that it was an MP3 and all this stuff, then I'm going to know that you're just making things up and you didn't read the articles. The article tells you what's in each one. You don't have to be a professional sound listener, right? This is your first freshman class. This is teaching you how to do it, not expecting you to be able to do it already. So when I'm asking you to describe these things, use your words, it's guided listening. Everything in here tells you exactly what to listen for, exactly what to look for. You work with it till you can hear it and or see it. You don't have to guess. I don't expect you to guess. You're freshmen. You're not qualified to guess for this stuff. So don't. Do exactly, listen for the things they show you and that they talk about. This doesn't have to be hard. It just takes a little time to read it all. All right, so that's the article. I've been downloading the sounds. We're actually going to open up Logic and look at that. So I know we're getting past an hour here. Probably getting a little tired of hearing me talk. But we'll try to get the speed things up here. So I went over all this stuff. We can get to the line. The audio files themselves are available at download the files. Logic session. Linda training videos. Watch your Linda videos. Be sure to do your pictures. I'm going to skip through the grading. Then we're actually going to look at the mechanics of the project, making sure logic works. So I'll go through that in a moment. Let's just look at the grading real quick. So each of your projects has a grade sheet. You don't have to guess how you're going to be grading. You just look at the sheet. It's like a checklist. If you did all those things, you're going to get the points. If you didn't, you're going to lose the points. Made post with image, 20 points. Loaded session correctly, 20 points. Paragraph written about the subject matter, 40 points. That's 40 points. That's stuff I was just going on about tell me about what you're hearing, describe what you're hearing, what you're learning with these audio examples. That's 40 points to your grade. So if we look at it and we realize you didn't really read and you just made up some stuff, you're losing 40 points right there. You just failed the project. So don't fail the project for goofing off. So all the instructions, every instruction, everything, one thing in a row. Screenshots, tells you how to take a screenshot right there. Shift Command 3. A paragraph using terminology from the article about what you heard. Looks like I need an about there. Got a little typo. All right. So let's just take a look at it. I've got Logic open here. Whenever you open Logic, it makes you make a track. Just add one audio track, mic track, whatever it's calling them. So while we've been talking, I've been downloading my SOS compression files from the article, from exactly where I showed you. So I'm going to open up that folder. I'll make sure they're in alphabetical order. If they're not, you can just click up on these little lists up here. This will click down and do by name, which will be alphabetical. So all in alphabetical order. Logic is really easy. If you've come from another DAW, some are really easy like this. Some like Pro Tools are not so easy. But this one's just drag and drop, and it's going to fix everything for you. So we don't have to think about a lot, don't have to worry about a lot. We're going to bring it over here. We're going to bring it right to the start of our session. And you can put use existing tracks or create new tracks. You either use that first one or not. Do not click this last one. We just want one of these first two. Well, I need more coffee than, more water than coffee, I think. I'm feeling my lack of water giving me a lisp. So this is these are the sounds from the article. All I do is drag and drop, make that selection. Very easy. Those Linda videos also tell you how to do this, so you'll have a review before you even have to do it. You do not need your audio interface to work for this. If you're having issues with the audio interface, just plug your headphones into the side of your computer. You can take off the 1/4-inch adapter. It'll have a normal 1/8-inch headphone plug underneath. Plug them into your computer, do the project. This is not a music mixing file. No amount of work you do is going to make all these tracks sound good together. They're not supposed to. What you're going to do is solo them. Solo is this little S button, turns yellow. Listen to it. What are we listening for? I don't know. Sounds like a click, right? Do not write me that this thing sounds like a click. I know it sounds like a click. You know it sounds like a click. Everybody knows it sounds like a click. What are you supposed to write about? I don't know. Let's read the article. So we'll look back down here. What was example A showing me again? Example A, raw 16-bit 44.1 wave file. So that's my reference point. That's my high quality one. Oh, that's J, sorry. Whoop. Where are we? Where's A? There we are. There's example A. That's the click we heard. So example A is the raw. Example B is MP3. Example C, an AAC. And look, you can look at the pictures. We can look here and see there's a difference. We can try to listen for the difference. Here's your zoom up here at top right side. Zoom up and down. You can zoom left to right. Click, click. Now you heard that, right? You may not have been able to hear the difference from there, but those sound different. They are both clicks, but they sound different. Down there would be another one. They're the exact same recording of the click. It's the process of the recording, the changing of it to be distributed to other listeners that change the sound of it. The same thing is happening in your music, and most of you don't notice it yet. This exercise will help you notice and know what to listen for. So I know here that there's time blur, post-echoing, so I can write about that, right? I don't have to guess, well, something sounded different, but I don't know what it was. I go in here and be like, wow, I really heard something sound different, and I see that it was post-echoing. So that's what that is that I heard, you know? Maybe you hear a difference, but you have no idea what the difference is. You know they're different, but you don't know what the difference is. This tells you don't have to guess. I just want you to listen and read and start to learn. Maybe you won't hear all of them. Maybe you'll hear some of them. That's fine. It's a start. So this is how we load our session. All I have to do is hit solo to listen to different ones. Notice if you keep hitting solo, it keeps lighting up more and more, and they're all going to play on top of each other. That's not being any good for us. So if you hold option solo, it's just like a little shortcut. Hold the option button, and then click on the solo. And if you click on another one, it automatically unclicks the one before. So it's just one solo at a time. Just a handy shortcut to know, option solo. All right, do we have any questions on this assignment and what's expected here? So you're going to watch the videos, you're going to read the article, you're going to download the sound files, you're going to load them in Logic, you're going to take a screenshot of both the Lynda videos and Logic. You're going to write a paragraph, 4 sentences or more about what you learned. You know, just pick a few sounds and explain what you learned about them. Then you're also going to upload your whole session. So you're going to need to save it properly and upload it. Everything in this course is last name, first name. So see this? Last, first, RPR, loading sound. So remember over here, we go save it. So file. I know Logic's new to you all, but you just watch the getting started with Logic. We're going to kind of take it one bit at a time. You're not going to learn all of Logic here. We're just going to teach you what we're using. So you're just going to learn some basics as we go along. No pressure on that. Save as, last name. RPR loading sounds. Is it? Note where it saves to. If this little triangle is closed, maybe you don't see everything. You can open up this triangle and it shows you exactly where it's going. It's going in my Logic folder right now. If I want it on my desktop, I can just click my desktop and I can save it to my desktop. So for this, this class, we have a new thing to teach because we're doing our submissions a little bit different this month. So what we're going to have you do is upload the session with no audio. Okay, so what we're going to do, I even put a little video for how to do it in here. So this is the video on it, but I'll show you again just in this. So what you're going to do is you're going to, once you save it, go ahead and save the whole thing because you want to have it all saved for your records. Go back and do File, Save As, do Folder, take all this stuff off, or you can leave it. It's not really going to matter. You've already got saved in the folder. It's kind of redundant. This has to be put in the same place. I'm going to replace that one. So what we did here is we saved this as a folder. So I'm going to show this again. File, Save As. We're going to go to our desktop, save as a folder. So on our desktop, we'll have a folder for this project. Here we are. I'm going to open it up. And inside the folder, there'll be this little file, has a little platinum record on it like this. That's our Logic project. Now on this one, this folder has all our audio files, everything in it. It's fine, you're going to want those, but for what you submit to us, it's just this one. Okay, so this way we don't have to transfer all those audio files every time. So you just said your project without the audio files. It'll have everything in there. It'll have what looks like the audio files, but it won't have the actual sounds or any of that data. It'll just have the clip view of it. We'll have the audio files. We're doing this just for simplicity of transfer and upload. We'll teach you the way to transfer everything later in this course, but to start off with, we're just going to simply do this, no audio files, and we'll go in depth with it later. So just follow along with this. You're going to do your Save As. Once you've done your Save As with the folder, you open up your folder, and you find this little platinum-looking project. This little project is what you upload. So you're going to drag and drop this project to FSO. If you look here, it's called Logic X project, but it's inside the folder. So you save as a folder, you upload the project. Any questions on that upload? I got a question. You're creating a paragraph for each example or just overall? Just overall. Just one really good paragraph. There's a lot of examples. Just pick a series of examples that you like and write a paragraph about them. And just a one screenshot with all those eyeballs, like in the demonstration for the Linda video, should do it. Justin, do you have a specific question about uploading the thing, or did I cover it all when I did that? All right, looks like I covered it all. Thank you. All right. So here's where we are. That's everything you need for this project. Made post with image. So we just took a screenshot, Command-Shift-3. Loaded the session correctly. We'll see that where it's uploaded, and you wrote your paragraph and you uploaded the entire project without the audio files as demonstrated by me in this video and also in this video that's included here. You'll be having to do that a lot this month, so you need to learn how to do it now. All right, so your next lecture is going to be Thursday. Remember, you also have quiz 1 Thursday. During Thursday's lecture, I'm going to very quickly get into this next project called Describe Your Environment, a recording project. So this lecture, we had a lot of just groundwork to cover because it's day 1. From here on out, we are going to be getting pretty quickly into the technical stuff and into all the good stuff and into working with the projects. So you'll have a little less fluff and poppycock or whatever from me, hopefully in the next lecture. And hopefully I won't get any from you all in between. And we'll be going into Describe Your Environment and Recording on Thursday's lecture. All right. You all are dismissed. If there are any more questions coming through. No, assignments are due by midnight Eastern time. They're due by whatever the time zone is and your FSO equates to. So all midnights are midnight here in Orlando. Thank you. Daniel, yes, you can. The archives will be up all month. I'll have it up tomorrow. All right, thank you, Cheryl. All right. So no more pertinent questions. You all are dismissed. I'm going to save out the recording of the video. I will leave the live meeting open in case anybody has any last minute questions. See you all on Thursday. Have a great evening.